What's up, brother?
What's going on, bud?
Not a whole lot. I'm just gonna get some shares out here and get some people in. How's your night going?
Pretty good. Just
Good.
getting stuff ready for the holidays, you know.
Oh man, crazy, ain't it?
It's been nuts. Been killing my fishing.
Crazy. I haven't been out. I haven't had a line wet since October. About the middle of October. It's insane.
That's too long.
It is, but everything here is completely froze over. So
Really?
actually, here I'll show you. Yeah, I'll show you this. So this is the largest lake in Nebraska. I don't know if you're where are you from? You're from
Down here in Georgia.
Georgia. Okay, so this is the biggest lake in the state of Nebraska. It is 33 miles long at full pool and 6 miles wide. So here's our lake. Okay, that's it. That was it a week ago. As of yesterday, that is the first time I have never seen this lake freeze completely, like solid over the top.
Wow.
Can
y'all
usually,
ice fish?
No, you don't. You won't catch me playing on the ice.
Okay.
So I tried it. I'm not a big fan of it. I didn't like the ice cracking under my feet, stuff like that. So I usually, when the ice starts forming, I usually get into my hunting season and stuff like that. And, so that's kind of where we're at. We're going to go out next week and do some predator hunting and see if we can get rid of some bobcats and coyotes. And
Okay.
shit like that. So that's kind of our winter hobby there. And as February rolls around, we start getting things ready for the spring thaw. And I try and be on the water by, depending on our winter, I've been on the water early as 1st of March, and then it's been the end of April before I'm on. So, yeah.
That's too long.
Very long.
I'd lose my mind.
Right. It don't take much. Let's see, who else we got in here? What's going on, guys? Thanks for coming. Let's So how did you do the other day? I caught your live for a little bit.
Last two lives I've actually skunked out, which is rare for me. I usually catch at least one fish, but so we had really warm water here for a while.
Yeah.
And then we just had like this crazy weather front come through, which I'm sure everybody has had, a little bit of something. But the section of the river that I fish over here is so shallow that it dropped like 10 degrees within just like a few days, and it just shut all the fish down.
Jeez. So are you on a low tide, high tide in that river? Or?
There's no tide. So the Chattahoochee River, it's the section that I'm on is just, it's almost, I swear, even though it's a river, it's kind of like a creek, really. So we're in between a bunch of different dams, and like it's completely dammed off in sections. Like it's right above where I was fishing at. I think it's called Eagles Dam.
Okay.
And then right above that, you have the Lake Oliver Dam, and then you have Lake Oliver, which is just a reservoir, and then above that you have the Goat Rock Dam, Bartlett's Ferry. So it's more like just a bunch of lakes stuck together than it really is a river. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It has flow, but it's not like what you would think an actual river would be.
Right. Holly, will I take you fishing? Absolutely. Come on out. But yeah, we've got a canal system here. I guess you say creek. What's your definition of a creek? I mean, what?
So at times of the year, I can literally walk from one side of the bank all the way across to the other. Literally walk.
So, are you familiar with the Platte River at all?
Mm-mm.
That runs east and west through Nebraska and dumps into the Missouri.
Uh-uh.
So I live. Um, I'm a mile and a half from the Platte, and yeah, exactly, Holly. So I'm a mile and a half from the Platte, and we that's our Platte at full pool is you can take one bait and walk clear across it. And, you know, it's a great bypass for flatheads to come up. They come up off the Missouri and they travel westward to go spawn. But it's a great one for them. Other than that, man, there's just a lot of channels in there. But blues are kind of hard to find here. I mean, I gotta travel about 4 hours if I want to go catch a blue.
Really?
Yeah, I gotta travel. I gotta head over. I'm right smack dab in the central Nebraska. We gotta travel clear over to the Missouri. So,
Sheesh.
yep. So, uh, did I send you the pics of the canal? You sent me one picture of the canal, I believe. That had a little bit of water left in it. So that's the other thing that challenges us is the canal is actually a irrigation. If they use it, they fill it in the spring for the farmers to use to irrigate, and then in the fall they drain it, completely drain it. It's dry.
Wow.
So any flatheads that we target through that canal through the summer, come middle of October, they're starting to drain that, and by the end of October, 1st of November, it's dry. Fish are gone. Yeah. So it's kind of tough fishing around here. We gotta pick and choose where we're gonna go, and especially in the fall, we gotta plan it out. And I think we're gonna try and hit. We're gonna try and hit Gavin's Point Dam. Oh, Ethan sent me. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay. So Ethan here just sent me some pictures. These is our canal as of right now.
Jeez.
This is usually flowing water. Depending on where you're at, here you can see the kind of the bridge up here in this area. Ethan actually caught about a 40-pound flat the first night I met him right here.
Wow.
Ethan, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the Brady check here? But hell, I had 12 ounces of weight just to keep it sitting. But that's where that's what it looks like right now. That's our challenges through the summer or through the fall and till spring. But
that's insane.
Nope, you're all right. All right, I'm gonna get you guys up here. I'll get Ethan up here. That's the double check spot west of where. Oh, yep. Okay. All right, guys. I sent you guys a couple invites to come up. We'll just keep it to 4 tonight. Patrick, did you want to send it out to any of your people, or not? You have a pretty following. Did you want to send it out to anybody?
Still trying to figure all this stuff out.
Right.
All right, I'm here.
All right, what's up, Ethan?
Yeah, that's our problem with the with my river is actually the section that I'm at is controlled by that Eagle Dam. So our city has, I don't know if there's any more now, but
What's that?
For a while, our river and the section that I fish is the only inner city whitewater raft section that you can do.
Oh no!
since the city has started doing that, there's not a consistent flow anymore. They raise and lower pretty much anytime they have people that want to do the whitewater section. And so, where it used to when I was a kid, there actually used to be a spillway there. They had to blow it up to make the rapids right there. And the catfish would come upstream and they would stack up behind there. Now there's it makes kind of like a bowl. There's a big hole where the detonation took place, and they stack up in there. But because they're always raising and lowering the water for groups of people to come through, the fish are on like a really weird bite pattern, and it literally changes by the hour.
Yeah.
Well, that's how this canal was this last year. One night it would be consistent, and then you go fish the same spot the next night, and it'd be 5 to 8 feet lower than what it usually is.
Right. A lot of that comes in our area. A lot of that comes from our weather too. If we have a dry spell, that can drop 8 feet. And then on top of what they're trying to do so they have an energy plant that runs through this. They have everything else. So depending how much flow that they want running downstream, hell, they'll shut it off for 2 weeks at a time and slow that stream down.
Yeah, it's crazy. It makes it difficult. You have to catch the fish here just at the right time, pretty much, whenever they're coming through. Now,
Yep.
February is my favorite time for the section you've seen me at, because we have so much rain coming through. They have no choice but for like the month of February to leave the gates open.
Yep.
And that's usually my consistent bites for blue cats. And the flatheads start showing up a little bit around that time.
In February?
In February, they start coming upstream. They come upstream like striped bass. You know how stripes will go upstream?
Yeah.
Yep.
Our flatheads will migrate starting at the end of February for a couple of months, and they will literally stack up where you can catch. I've seen people catch 30 or 40 of them in a day, anywhere between 5 and 20 pounds. We don't have any giants in our area. You got to go downstream about 2 hours to get to waters where you can catch 50 or 60 pounds.
Where do you have open water at in February?
It's in Georgia.
Oh, no wonder why.
Yeah, it's in Georgia. The last time I saw snow, it snowed for like an hour, and it just made the ground muddy. The dogs didn't want to go out for a little while.
So maybe we'll get eggs sometime.
Well, it's going to be negative 18 here Thursday for a high.
Yeah. So we're right in the middle of this Arctic front coming down, and our wind chill is supposed to start dropping tonight. They're saying this front's supposed to hit about midnight. By 7 a.m., we're supposed to be at a negative 56 wind chill from Wednesday morning till Saturday morning.
Nah, you can keep that.
I don't want it. I'm trying to give it back to Antarctica, but they don't want it.
Shit.
I think our high is supposed to be in like the 20s. Let me look real quick. But yeah, it's supposed to drop cold.
Yeah, so it's insane. I mean, we're definitely a seasonal fishing out here. I mean, there's no year-round unless you're an ice fisherman, and even then, you don't have the mobility. You're still kind of stuck. You don't get a drift fish like you would through the summer.
No, but usually, once it's iced up, they're pretty congregated.
Yeah. So once you find them, you can find them and do fairly well. So
yeah, our high is going to be the 40s, and then all of a sudden, it's just going to drop to 20 in the 20s, the low 20s.
So what's your water temperature down there right now?
To be honest with you, I'm not too sure. It's cold.
Is that your internet, Josh, that's cutting in and out, or?
It could be. I mean, everybody else is smooth. You're a little jerky.
Yeah, everything's smooth on the end.
I think it's yours, Ethan. But so if you had to guess your water temp, you said it's pretty cold.
Yeah, I'm probably in the low 50s right now.
My internet keeps cutting in and out.
So on my screen, Jeremy's over here.
What in the hell's going on? Hang on, guys.
So him and Alyssa went to Kansas and did a cold water YouTube video. And you said that water temperature was what, 38 degrees?
Yeah.
Woo.
38 degrees. They went out for about
Hey, Jeremy.
and caught 13.
But they caught a decent fish there. Like, there's been good fish caught in that tent, right?
So, according to our marina, the water temperature is 56 degrees. So they update that like every day. So,
yep. So that's probably about. You might hit upper 40s.
I might have
the lowest. If you need to reset, Ethan, reset. I'll bring you back in.
I might have to get off my internet. All wacky.
Okay. If you come back in, I'll bring you back in.
All right. Bring me back.
Got about 3 words out of it.
So, a little bit about me. Obviously, I just reached out to you the other day. I'm from Central Nebraska. I proceed with Minotaur hooks as well as Carolina lake weights. I just got picked up tonight by Warrior Beverages for a brand ambassador with them, as well as I'm brand ambassador for Hook and Drag Apparel. Jeremy and Alyssa down there. Jeremy has the Wicked Whiskers Catfish Tournament Series here in Nebraska. He's had it for about 5 years, and this year him and Alyssa are partnering up to run it together. She just won Lady Angler of the Year through the North Alabama Catfish Trail. So she had some pretty good accomplishments in her couple of years of fishing here. So you want to tell us about yourself a little bit?
Well, I'm not as fancy as all that. I just I've been fishing my whole life, been doing it since before I could walk. I've been blessed to catch big fish, and I guess back when I was a kid, I always wanted to film and show people what kind of fish you can catch, because in my area, bass fishing is king, right? Which I bass fish also. If you say you catfish, that's like a dirty word here. It's actually not as bad now. But,
What?
Where are you from?
Georgia.
Georgia. Okay.
Yeah, Columbus, Georgia.
I overheard like 50-degree water temps, and I was like, that ain't around here.
No, it don't get quite that cold here.
Right. So, and it's funny you say that it's a dirty word, because you guys you're close to some of the best fisheries for catfish in the nation over there.
Oh yeah.
So I think where bass is so strong in your area, and it's been so popular for the last 20 years, I think catfishing is a little bit of a threat to the bass tournament series. I think they're seeing a lot of people kind of not necessarily jump ship, but co-species and start doing fish tournaments. Where Cabela's has picked up and started doing the King Cat series, and then you've got all these bigger names that are starting to pop up and step through, and they're seeing more money into the catfish program.
Right.
And, I've talked to a few guys the last couple of weeks that they ran the bass competition. Now they've traded their Ranger bass boat in for a Sea Arc, and hell, they're over Cat Master because there's more money in it.
Right. Now I'll tell you what.
There's nothing like catching a big catfish.
Yeah, there's.
Or like a
big fish.
Like, I don't even want to say catfish, because I'm like, catfish we can only go so. Like, we're, I want to go get sturgeon. We want to go get alligator gar. Like, just a big fit. Like,
right.
I appreciate all of them. All of them are super fun, and I even get like really super excited when I catch bass. I'm just really good about it, but
I'm still trying to figure out why you get more.
Nothing like catching like a big fish. What?
I said, I'm still trying to figure out why you get excited more over a 3-pound bass than a 20-pound cat.
Some of those bass are like 10 pounds. Some of those bass are like big. I've caught some big bass. I've got some compliments from some old time fishermen that are like the best word you could hear, where they're like, we've been trying for so long for the bass. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to just say I did that on accident.
Right.
So
see, we're known for big bass over here, like Lake Eufaula, which is part of the river that I fish. I mean, growing up, since I would catch catfish every once in a while, just because I like all fish. I just wouldn't tell nobody. I would just, I would have a pole over with a steel leader because back then I just, I didn't know my saltwater stuff. I would use, so I'd have a piece of something over to the side and I'd be throwing lures. I've caught several, 12s, almost 13-pound bass, but, in the same area. One of the things you were talking about, the tournaments that I've noticed, it's not so much that they're swapping over that I see, at least in my area. It's more of the bass guys and the catfish guys are now competing for spots on the same weekends because the spot where you catch those big bass, a lot of times those big flatheads and blues are all, they're there also. And so you'll see catfish guys trying to beat the bass guys on tournaments and get up over
And
there.
we see that. That's like, I've been in tournaments where we try and start just a little bit ahead of the bass guys because we know a bass tournament's going on. I mean, it's a real thing.
Right.
it's your area, it's nationwide. We're competing against bass fishermen. Up here, we have to compete against the bass, the walleye, the crappie people. I mean, there's a ton of series up here, and we got to compete for a weekend against all of them to get the best turnout we can. So I guess I got to give Jeremy props. He's done a great job the last 5 years of keeping that pretty straight, keeping it going.
Yeah.
It gets pretty nuts. We've had to get pretty crazy out there. I fish a lot on the Tennessee River, and man, we've had them bass guys. They get mad, boy. Whenever they pull up and like say we're on fishing like the wing walls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, man, they get so mad. It's like, I got out here at like 4 a.m. Sorry, I'm not moving.
Right.
I
mean, it kind of makes me mad when you have like a good drag going on and they want to like just zip right in front of you and stir up everything. So,
Right. So, okay. Well, I mean, I think we're going to have more people joining in as this goes on, but I'm also going to be posting this or uploading this to my YouTube. Pat, if you don't have me on YouTube, I am Nebraska_Madkatter on YouTube. Jeremy and Aliska are Wicked Whiskers. Is it Wicked Whiskers or Wicked Whisker Catfishing on YouTube?
On YouTube, it's just Wicked Whiskers.
Okay. So
I can add y'all right now. I'm sitting right in front of my computer.
Yep. Give us a subscribe, and every video we do on here, I'm going to start uploading to our YouTube.
What'd you say yours was? Y'all have to get y'all to repeat it for me.
No, mine is Nebraska_Madkatter. And if you can't find it, I can share the link with you after this.
Yeah, that'll be fine also. Let's see what comes up. A lot of stuff. You might have to send the link.
Yeah. I don't think I've had enough traffic through mine to pop up yet.
YouTube is weird, man. So
yes, and I've got 4 dogs.
4 dogs. Nice. Originally, I was part of another YouTube channel. It was Real Beast. I don't know if you had seen that or not. And it was a lot larger, not giant.
Scroll up.
What's that?
No, she's asking how many and what breed. I put it in the chat. Just scroll up. You'll see. But go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I had to start back over. My partner, me and him split. He took Real Beast. And I started the Twisted Tackle Fishing, and I tell you, the algorithm changes so much with YouTube. Like, you'll do good for a while, and then it's like they cut everything out from underneath you, and then you'll get no traffic for the longest time. And then a video you think won't do anything, all of a sudden will get like 20,000 views.
Right.
Seriously?
Yeah, they're trying to get their YouTube channel fired up and really get it to take off. They're actually going to do a giveaway of something when they hit 1,000.
I gotta figure it out. It's gonna be good.
That's the hard part, is getting to the first 1,000.
Yeah, I got to get to my first 100.
Yeah, nice. We
So-
we had ours over 1,000, and then I'll tell you something else. When you hit 1,000, YouTube slows you down again.
Really?
The real work starts after you hit 1,000.
Yeah.
It's a pain, but it's worth it. I mean, well, I guess you don't get paid much.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not in it for the money from YouTube or TikTok. I don't plan to go rich off of those guys, but I think it's all fun and games and help get a brand built and make money in other ways.
I just need it to pay for my gas for these trips. That's all I'm asking. If it just pay for me to go fishing more, that's it. Instead of me having to come out of pocket for everything.
Yeah.
That was a win. I told my wife, I said, we made $5. So that is a win. That is $5 that I am not having to put into the gas.
Yeah.
Congrats. You can hook up to your boat this week. with these fuel, I don't know what your fuel prices is down there, but that would about get you to the end of the driveway and backed up to your boat.
Yeah, it's nuts. There are parts of the country that are a lot worse than we are. Georgia passed a law where they can't charge over a certain amount, but our gas still hit almost $5 for a little while there. Right now it's back under $3, but barely.
That's where we're at. We're at $2.89 here.
Yeah. See, my saving grace is I fish mostly bank and kayak. I do a lot of catfishing out of my kayak, so it's just the gas getting there, and that's it.
Right. So, okay. Well, I guess our topic for tonight is winter cats, catching catfish in the wintertime. Pat, I guess I'll let you start. Any advice for anybody trying to get started? Any specialty advice that works for you?
I'll give. So, like I was saying a second ago, I do from the bank and from the kayak. So it's different depending on, like, you're looking for different things fishing from the bank than you are from a boat or some kind of water vessel. A lot of the people that watch my channel, they don't have boats or kayaks. They bank fish. So a lot of times when I'm trying to find catfish in the wintertime, I'm trying to find transition areas that have structure. And the only way is usually you get hung up on it when you're casting, like you can, when I was a kid, we would learn to throw just lead weights out and see how long it would take to get to the bottom to kind of figure out how deep of water you're in. And then, as you drag it around the bottom, you can feel structure down there. And so, like the spot that I fish, I actually, it's sad, I skunked out, not this last one, but the weekend before, my favorite wintering spot. It goes from 10 foot deep to almost 40 foot deep. It's almost kind of like a clay hill. And there's just a little bit of rubble down there. Not much, but a little bit. And in the wintertime, those catfish get up around that structure and they hold real tight to it. I didn't catch any fish last weekend, but I had a really good takedown drag pull, and I was there for a big fish. Because usually wintertime is when I try for my bigger fish. I have different methods than other people. I put my bass fishing knowledge towards the catfishing. So in the wintertime when I bass fish, I use large baits. Most of the time, bass just want to hit one big bait. They want to eat and then just relax. And so a lot of my friends, they downsize baits in the winter for catfish, but I use large baits. And I let them sit for a while because a lot of times them fish are not moving much with this cold water. And I hooked a really good fish in that spot, and he just somehow or another came off the hook. He was pulling, dragging, everything. So the only bad thing is a lot of times, catfish will stack up. But if you have a really big fish, a lot of times they're that only fish on that structure. They're territorial. So that turned out to be the case that time. He was the only guy there willing to eat at least. As far as like from what I found, my kayak, which I still go out even though it's cold. I go out there, it's freezing, and I fish off the kayak. A lot of times I'm looking for structure. But the good thing about a boat from a bank fishing, bank fishing, you have very limited options. You basically got to try to find the best spot that you can get to, and that's pretty much going to be it. Whereas, with a boat or a kayak, you can move around more, you can find better spots. And as far as like the Tennessee River goes, because that's where I do a lot of my kayak fishing, because there's no gators down here where I'm at. There's gators. I'm not getting in my kayak around them if I can help it.
I don't think I would either.
But up in the Tennessee River, a lot of times the fish will sit up in shallower areas, which I say shallow. We're talking like 30 foot or less. Also we're looking for, especially the Tennessee River. I'm looking for actual like timber, down trees. They're usually stacked up behind the wood, using it to block the current.
Yep.
And you might catch one, maybe two fish off of that timber. There's probably more down there. You know what I'm saying? There's usually a lot of fish. You find them sitting together, but you'll usually catch one, maybe two fish off there that are actually willing to take a bait. And so that's usually what I'm looking for. Right. Is just lots of down timber, and it's usually most of my fish in the wintertime are around probably the 20-foot range. So I don't know if that helps anybody, but that just seems to be the experience for me up there.
Helps a lot of people. I mean, I think we got more folks that are going to see this that probably bank fish than boat fish. That's the biggest challenge that people, especially starting out, have to endure is finding the right spot, what to look for, how to read the water flow, how to read the structure under the water.
Right.
What to look for. Once they start figuring that out, then they can start putting the puzzle pieces together and start making things happen. But, and it's going to be a little bit different from your area to our area, but the idea behind it is all the same. You're still, whether you're in Georgia, California, or Nebraska, these fish are still going to stack up on the backside of the structure. Mm-hmm. They're still going to sit. It might be, it's going to differ with your water temperature, whether they're going to be stacked up at 5 foot of water or 30 foot of water. And that's going to change with where you're at in the country and stuff like that, but they're all going to behave the same way. So I think that's a good point that you came across is explaining how you read, what you're reading for, how you fish it. And some of these guys that may be in Oregon or Arizona or whatever, they can take that and they can adapt it to fit their water temperature and kind of run with it.
Right.
So, you say you go bigger baits in the wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
I know I go smaller just because their bodies slow down, their metabolism slows down, they don't move a whole lot. Here they just kind of look for an easy meal.
Right.
There's a lot of current, there's a lot of bait floating around through them. They're gonna pick the easiest meal that they can pick. Sometimes you might get lucky with a big bait. I think I've had better luck with a smaller bait. Jeremy, you downsize or upsize your bait in the winter?
I downsize, but we're dealing with 30-degree temperatures.
Right.
Oh, their metabolism's just way shot.
Yeah, it's slow. They don't want to expend that.
Usually they're down in the mud. Like, I do better on bottom than I do with a float. You'll catch them and their bellies are all muddy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, we've got when it starts getting cold here, they will literally bury themselves down in the mud.
Yeah, you wouldn't even see them on a fish finder when you get over them.
Yep.
Right.
It'd just be a rock on the bottom is all you're going to see.
You're right.
And I was really hoping that Epic was going to be able to make it tonight because we talked to him a little bit last night, and he made a really good point. If you're fishing from a boat
on my feet
in the wintertime, he says that you really got to play with your sensitivity on your graph in the wintertime. Is get out there and play with it. If you get a bite, play with it a little bit more and start looking for all these little different, colors on the bottom. He says, because you can come across and mark a log, and you're going to see the shell of the log, and then the inside's going to be a different color, because it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It says, but then you mark this fish, and you got to kind of play with your graph a little bit and get your colors set and see it just to clarify it. He says a lot of times those fish are going to blend in so well with the bottom of the freaking lake that if you don't have your graph set just right, you're going to go right over top of them and think you marked a log or a rock or whatever. So as far as our boat guys, I mean,
What kind of fish finder do you have, Josh?
I run a Garmin Striker 7 on the back, and I mean on the back, and then at the console I run a Lowrance. So
I haven't ever used a Garmin.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
So
but the Lowrance I have and a Hummingbird.
Yep, I think I'm going to be switching over to Hummingbird. I was hoping to pick one up at Black Friday, but they were sold out. But I'm going to switch over to Hummingbird because
a different color. Like I got so used. At first, got so used to a Hummingbird, and then now I got so used to the. How do you say it? Lowrance.
Lowrance.
But the colors are different. Like it's.
They are. They're
I guess we're looking for really big fish on the Lowrance. Yeah. We're looking for big dark marks.
Right.
So
and a lot of that is how the captain has it set up, what he's used to. You can actually reverse that, so you're looking for hollow light spots versus solid dark spots. But yeah, I guess there's been times you get up here, and we start getting into that early fall bite, and these fish are starting to transition into the shallow water. I mean, God, there's been nights that we've caught them with their backs out of the water, and they're up in 2-3 foot of water.
Crazy.
I mean,
yay!
Crazy how shallow they will go for an easy meal. And then 2 weeks later, they're buried so dang deep in that lake that like Jeremy said, they're coming out with mud or clay on their bellies, and you got to pry them out of that hole. But so what as far as your area down there, what have you found to be the transition into the wintertime bite or your bigger trophy blues that you're going for? Is it still about the first December? Is it later? Is it?
It's for us. It's actually sooner than that because we're so shallow. This section of the river is so shallow. Most of our fish start really slowing down in the beginning of November.
Oh, really?
Which is weird because down here November is still hot. Like we still have really hot weather down here, but because the this section of the river at least is so shallow, they start making their way back down towards deeper water. Usually right as November begins. December we're hard set winter bite by that point.
Okay. And
then January is just a dead zone. You might get a fish every couple of days or something. They slow down. Like I tell you, for anybody who's looking for flatheads, you love flatheads. Down here, at least, there is no flatheads in the wintertime. I have never seen anyone catch one during the wintertime. They are non-existent.
Yeah, they're there. They pretty well. That fall bite. They load up on that fall bite in October, and man, it seems like those flatheads just go stagnant in the wintertime.
45 degrees.
But then you get those cats, and they turn into these monsters. They seem like they're more aggressive than the blues even, in the wintertime.
Right. Yeah, our channel cats are pretty savage right now.
Right. So do you have a specific bait that you switch to in the wintertime? Do you go from threadfin shad in the summer to gizzard shad in the winter? Or vice versa? Or
right. It depends on the area. So we'll say here in my state, if we're fishing my waters, the three main baits throughout the year is threadfin shad, then skipjack. We have skipjack. I don't know if y'all do or not, but then it's skipjack, and then it would be bluegill, any kind of like sunfish or something like that. In the wintertime, it flops because shad and the skipjack go downstream. They go into the back of these creeks, and you won't see them again until it warms up. So then it goes strictly to just bluegill, any kind of panfish. And then Tennessee, it's usually just skipjack and bluegill. And in the wintertime, it is like 100% just your best bet is going to be the bluegill, is going to be the shell cracker, any kind of panfish and that. I'm usually using the hand size or bigger bluegill. Usually one big bluegill will be two baits. I'll use half of him. Like the headpiece is my favorite part, so that's first. It'll be the headpiece in that half, and then the back half. I don't trim the tail off or anything. Well, I trim the fins up, the spiky stuff, but one big bluegill will make two baits. Sometimes one bait, I'll just clip the end of the tail so he'll bleed a little bit, almost like you're flathead fishing, but I'm actually after big blues.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty similar to what we kind of do here. We've got a lot of shad. I mean, shad is usually our number one. Other than that, if they're not hitting on shad, they're usually hitting on bass.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeremy had a lot of really good luck with white bass this year.
They're
you kind of switched over to the gizzard shad in the fall, didn't you?
Yeah, well, that's because I had no white bass. White bass is still my favorite bait.
Right. So
that's a tough bait. The white bass, they stay on a hook real good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You got quite a few of those down there, or are they kind of slim?
Was that the white bass?
Yeah.
Oh man, well, they're everywhere down here. Like they're literally everywhere. Whenever the spring run starts down here and the skipjack and the shad show back up, you'll be catching them on the same jigs you're catching the skipjack on. It'll just be one.
Yeah.
You'll catch one, catch another, or if you got three hooks, because in Georgia you can have pretty much as many hooks as you want to. So you got 5 jigs on the line, and you'll have 2 or 3 skipjacks, 2 or 3 white bass.
Right. Yeah, we've thanks, Swamp Donkey. Yeah, I mean, we don't have the pleasure of running unlimited. A lot of states have unlimited hooks, unlimited rods. I mean, we don't have that pleasure here. I think we can run 5 hooks per line, or if we're on a river, we can run 1 hook each. But on a lake, we're limited to 2.
Oh, okay.
So,
unlimited rods, unlimited hooks here.
You want to know the worst part about Nebraska is we can't throw a cast net.
Really? How do you get your shad?
We can throw a cast net.
We throw a cast net.
Oh, you can throw one. No,
we can't. We just
yes,
do it.
We can. 3 months of the year we can throw it, and it's only on
west.
lakes.
Yeah, it's only on certain lakes.
Wow.
Yep.
I don't know what I would do here for the shad. I'd be in trouble if I could use a throw net.
We still
right? Yeah, we still throw them. Just don't get caught.
Yeah. But I don't know about up there, but our shad run here in the springtime is so thick. A lot of times, if we don't have one, we actually just use those little scoop nets you get minnows.
Yeah.
You can reach in because they're literally like the shad run will be a mile long. You'll see them.
We got a lake in Lincoln that we could go do that in the springtime. That's pretty full of them.
Johnson's, where I'm at, it was like that this year. I mean, I could close my eyes and throw my cast net, and I'm going to hit shad.
Right.
I mean, but our maximum shad size here is 3 inches. They die every fall, and then we don't get those big 6, 7, 8-inch shad or even 10-inch shad that some of you guys see down there, or even like Chris down in Texas. Our shad kind of maxes out. Every once in a while, we might get lucky and get a 4-inch. That's it.
I'm like, we're a big shot in the
Yeah, I get them
Missouri,
around.
though.
Yeah, I get them around here.
In the Missouri, you guys do?
In the Missouri.
Yeah, and the lakes around here have bigger shad. Calamus used to have monster shad in it.
Used to.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, I went out to Johnson's in August. I went out and tried night fishing before it started really cool. And I get over there and I'm marking all this bait on my fish finder. Oh, that's pretty cool. So I throw out my cast net. Nothing. A couple more times, I catch a damn thing. I go to take off of the boat and the shit just starts skipping across the water. I'm going, what the hell? And I'm trying to look at it in the dark, and I'm like, those are big ass shit. Got to be big ass shad. I cruise at about 6 miles an hour, and I just throw my cast net out and shut it down real fast. And sure as shit, all it is goddamn Asian carp that are about 6 to 7 inches long.
Oh, I can't wait to get Asian carp again. I can't wait for salmon fishing. Bring it on.
Half through them in a zip and they're in the freezer. So, Chris, welcome. Pat, if you don't know Chris,
Josh.
This is Chris. He's got ElGato Azul TV on YouTube. He is from Texas. He is pro staff with me on Carolina Lake Weights. Demon Dragons, sponsored angler with Mad Cats. I know I'm forgetting a couple of them. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Chris?
I fished down in Texas with my 7-year-old Texas Tornado son, Jackson. We fun fish mostly. We do some tournament online stuff. Just sick with cat like all these guys.
Right. We've talked before. I used to be Real Beast before I had to change it over to the Twisted Tackle.
Yeah, I know you, Pat. I mean,
I was going to say, you going to make it to CatCon this year?
Yeah, we'll be there. I'm going to bring the whole family. So I'm bringing my wife. I'm bringing Action Jackson. I don't know if CatCon's ready for that kid, but it's.
I know my boys have so much fun in Kansas at the Kansas one. They're super stoked about this one. So
right.
I don't know how much fishing I'll actually get to do with them, but I can't not take them because they were interested, So I was like, yes. They're finally.
Yeah, I bought the tickets as soon as they were available. I had tickets. I didn't even get a chance to enjoy the last one we were down there. I got freaking sick. I got, I don't even know what it was. I don't know if I was so hoarse.
I didn't
even sound like the same person.
Appreciate it.
So we're going again. Hopefully this time I'll be nice and healthy and I can actually enjoy it and, run them credit cards up.
It's easy to do.
My wife already told me all the credit cards got to stay at home, so I'm secretly stashing cash as we go.
Yeah, she made me put
especially
mine in
with
the drawer.
kids. My kids just ran around with other kids and wanted a bunch of stuff. And again, I was so stoked that they were into it. I was like, yeah, you could get a new rod. Yeah, we could get this. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but let's get it.
Right.
My son's like, Dad, we got to get some red, white, and blue Mad Cats. I'm like, man, we don't have room for any more Mad Cats rods.
Well, if he keeps throwing them overboard, you will.
That's for sure.
Yeah, you run 10 of them off the back of your boat, don't you?
Yeah, well, we've been running 10. Normally I run 8, but I've started running 10. I'm going 4 long lines now. So in Texas, we can have up to 25 hooks. It kind of follows the line with the trot line guys. So, they don't care how many rods you got. It becomes more of a pain in the ass for a lot of guys, but with anything, you get used to running a bunch of stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes difficult with a 7-year-old when he hooks a monster. He can't control a fish. I make him leave it in the rod holder for the most part till it's about maybe 30 feet from the boat, and then I'm like, all right, get it out of the rod holder. That's when that 55 sucked that rod down to the bottom last week. But
Oh no! Oh no!
Jeremy, did you get on
yeah,
that?
so he had the junior lake record on, and it surfaced maybe 70 feet from the boat, and immediately I was like, "You got it, buddy," and and so I let him bring it all the way in, and then I'm like, take it out of the rod holder, and right when he took it out, it saw him and just bolted.
No!
Took the rod straight to the bottom, but luckily it was on a Parks planer board, and I thought quick. I threw it in revert. He's like, "I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry, Dad." I'm like, "Don't be sorry. I'm getting this fish, even if
Wait
I
a
have to
minute!
jump
Did you
in."
guys get that fish?
Yeah, they did.
So I
You
threw it
got
in
that fish
reverse. I
in?
got.
Watch
I,
that video.
No way!
Yep.
it's the fish fight of the century
Oh
in my
my gosh!
mind.
I have
But
like goosebumps.
I
That's
got the
correct.
planer board. I
I'm like,
pulled
how
that
did
planer
they
board
know
up by
what it is?
hand.
Like that's impressive.
I grabbed the rod. I handed it
No
back to
way!
him, and then he brought it in and got the junior lake record. So,
Alyssa,
That is so
and it was,
Yep.
cool. That was
the
what a
kicker.
freaking cool
It was on
story
his
too.
7th birthday. It was
Alyssa,
on his 7th birthday. So,
Oh
there,
my
yeah, there it
gosh,
is.
that is
right
so
there.
cool. And
Super
what a
proud
cool
dad
story, you
moment.
guys. That is so neat.
It was awesome.
I can't believe you got that fish in. Wow.
I'll tell you what. I watched that video and I had to go back and rewatch. I bet I rewatched that video about 5 times.
It's
I
on
might have let a couple
video.
of curse words
I,
fly there
Yeah.
for a minute,
That
but
we are going to look at.
I kept my
That is freaking
composure.
awesome.
Guys were like, "I can't believe you kept your composure like that and got that fish." But
you
I
know,
wouldn't.
you
if
had
you'll
some
look at
pretty
it, I
good
almost
fish.
dove in. I mean, we were in 5
Oh
feet of
my
water, and
gosh.
I got up on the gunnel and I was like, if I got to, I'm going in.
How deep
But
were you?
I saw that planer board and I'm like,
Oh
"Oh
my
God, that planer board's there." So I jumped on the big motor and threw it in reverse, and we got it. It did, I was surprised because when it saw him, it took off like a freaking jet ski, and it just sucked the rod right out of his hand. But it stayed there. It didn't. After it took it out of his hand, it just stayed there. It didn't move. Planer board stayed right there, and so I mean, it was
Wow.
meant to be.
Yeah, that was a good fish.
That
I've
is
been a part of a lot
crazy.
of cool fish fights, but that one was crazy. Like
Yeah.
Oh
after it was done, I was like, "Son, you got to
my
give me a
gosh,
second. You about gave me a heart attack."
Yeah. I was watching you live when that happened. I seen you jump up on the side, and I'm like, Chris, don't go swimming.
Oh
Don't go
my
swimming.
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. The water temp was 52, so it wouldn't have been good if I dove in, but
Right.
Oh
I would
my
have done it.
gosh.
Yeah, you could hear Jackson in the background. Dad, don't do it. No, no.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Oh,
Yeah,
I
it
feel
was a
like
good
that
time.
makes my face hurt. I was smiling so much.
A lot of guys here lately have been losing rods. And was it Roger and them? They lost that rod, but then got it back. They hung it and got it back. And
Yeah,
was
like on
it?
the first cast or something, they hung that thing. I got it back.
Yep.
Oh my
So
And
gosh.
then Bobcat went to cast. He caught that 63 and didn't check his line after. Went to cast and it snapped and he threw the rod out of his hand into the bottom of the river. A lot of
that was
rods being
classic.
lost.
I
That was
watched a guy.
classic.
I watched a guy on YouTube the other night. He's an ice fisherman, and he lost about a $400 ice rod last season. It pulled it right out of the holder, sucked it right through the hole, and he was kind of giving the backstory on it. And he had mentioned that he put a waypoint right where he was. He put a waypoint down before they left that year, and he had went back there. Every time they go out to that lake through the summer, they go out and they troll and just drag bottom trying to snag it. And they never got it. And then last weekend they went back out on the ice, went right to that waypoint, drilled a hole and set a camera down, found that rod and snagged it and brought it back up.
Wow.
No, they didn't.
Yep.
Stuff like that is so cool.
It
Oh
is.
my gosh.
It is. We've lost rods over the years. We've gotten lucky, get a couple back. You're trolling for. I grew up trolling for walleye, So there's time we're running bottom bouncers with a little bit of a bait float right off the bottom, and we'll snag something and bring it up, and it's a like a Zebco 303 or some cool stuff. We found some cool stuff over the years, but I guess back to topic. Chris, you joined in. We were talking about bait size for our winter fish. This cold front coming in, a lot of us are going to see some really cold temperatures this week. I know here in Nebraska we're supposed to see about -56 wind chill through Saturday.
That's not even real in my mind. That's crazy.
It's insane. So our temperature is supposed to be -26 with a wind chill of -56.
So cold temperatures for us in Texas is probably completely different than everyone else in the country.
Bored.
Right. But it's going to play a huge factor in trophy fishing. I mean,
we welcome the cold because it really groups up the fish. It pushes everything out of the shallows. It makes them group up, makes the bait group up, makes the fish group up. It makes everything just easier to find, to locate them. It's not such a they're not so spread out in the whole lake. Let's say they're in 20 foot of water. Well, how much water is there that's 20 foot? But when you get a good cold snap, they all push down into the channels, and they're just easier to locate. The bait piles up 10 foot thick. You just go to those areas. It may be a mile long that you see them like that, but all the fish in the lake will go and seek that refuge. And it just makes it so much easier for us. It's really go time after these cold fronts for us in Texas. So, I mean, I know for us, that's when we're putting in like 500 to almost 1,000 pounds of fish in the boat on a good day. So I welcome the cold. I know guys are like, I hate the cold. All my other buddies are like, oh, this freaking winter is just killing me, man. And I'm like, oh, man, it's finally here for us in Texas. So we like it.
Right. So we kind of discussed with Pat a little bit as far as bank fishing goes, of what, when time rolls around, what are you targeting, trying to catch these fish off the bank? What, how to read the water, how to read the structure under the water, stuff like that. You're a boat guy. So when this winter time comes around, what are you trying to target? Are you trying to just cover water and look for the fish? Are you trying to target channels? Are you trying to target structure? What is, as far as a boat fisherman, what are you trying to target when the winter fishing comes?
Why you look so weird? Come here.
Me?
Yes,
Pat.
you. No, you. Pat covered the bait fishing. You. What are you trying to?
I thought Pat. I see Pat fishing up like the Tennessee River a lot. So.
Out of my kayak.
Yeah. Last time I saw you were fishing kite, you did pretty good too. But yeah, what we're looking for is our water temperatures have been in the 50s, which is unseasonably high for us, which makes the fish really go shallow. It's almost like a springtime type bite. But this cold snap we're going to have is going to push the water down into the 40s. And for us, that's really when the fish are going to feed, probably the heaviest that they'll feed all year. They'll pack on an extra 15% of weight. They will just feed hard. I think the reason is because that bait, the game fish and the bait fish stack up really thick and get lethargic, and it's easy pickings for them. The fish will be so loaded and fat, it's like crazy how big they get right now. So we look for game fish that are stacked around that bait. I usually go a little bigger on my bait. I know guys that are up north, they go smaller, but for us, we go bigger. We're trying to give them something that is worth their while to eat rather than feeding on a bunch of little baits. They generally will like to go to get one big meal for the day. I drag really slow, so I try to present the bait kind of a natural presentation. I make it look injured. I'll put the whole bait on, like an 8-10 inch bait, fillet it down one side, and I'll drag it really slow and low to the bottom. And that's the key to catching big fish here in Texas in the winter. And that works up until the water hits about 40. And when the water hits 40, we get a big shad kill off, and we'll switch things up. We'll start targeting like the deepest hole in the lake. We'll go really small on our bait because the threadfin die off in huge numbers. So we'll try to match our bait size to that shad that's dying off. It starts dying off around 40, 38 degrees. Now, it doesn't do that a lot here. We're blessed in the winter to not have super cold, but it's a curse in the summer because we don't have a big fish action in the summer like a lot of you guys do. But
Right.
So we go really big until it hits 40, and then we downsize like most guys that are a little further north.
Right. Opposite of what we're talking about, but in the summertime, what kind of water temps are you guys looking at down there?
Man, we'll get up to 90, 92 sometimes.
No
kidding. It gets super hot. So I think that our big fish pretty much go nocturnal then, and they spread out over a huge area. So to specifically target big fish is almost impossible. Most of our guys, it just becomes an eater bite, or like the guides, they'll all switch to striper or white bass in the summer just because it's easier to do during the daytime. I still fish for blues in the summer during the day. It's a morning bite. It's more of an eater bite. Everything's basically under 10 pounds. We do catch some bigger ones if we go for at night, but it's not something that you can really specifically target. You just kind of got to get lucky because they're just so spread out. They're in every depth. There's no real pattern to follow. It's just not easy to catch big fish here in the summer, but
right. Now I would say, I think the highest I seen water temp, Jeremy, you were out a little more than I was this year on a boat, but I think the highest water temp I seen this year was 80 degrees even. That was middle of June through middle of July. That was the hottest I seen. Most of our fish season, our water is between 74 and 78.
So that's like spawning temperature for us. So 74, probably right around 70 degrees up until about 85. Our fish will be in spawn, and you won't catch. Unless you get one that's come out of the nest for a short period of time and is mad at whatever you drug in front of it.
Right.
You'll catch one, but it's not common to catch one during that time. So I'd say, like probably late May through July 4th, they're on their beds and you can't catch them here.
Right.
And then after that, it's a nocturnal bite. So if you're not fishing at night, you're just basically catching eaters. We moved to an eater bite. It's fun. I take my son, so he enjoys it.
Yeah, I enjoy the night fish, and but now this is you weren't here before. I shown Pat a little bit, but here is what we're battling right now. This is the biggest reservoir in our lake, and a week ago, it looked like this.
Jeez.
This lake is 33 miles long and about 4 miles to 5 miles wide. I've never seen it completely ice over like this. Usually it's got enough wind out there that it'll kind of blow it and keep it open. And you'll have ice that forms around the edge.
What reservoir is that?
But what?
Was that Harlan?
McConaughey.
Oh.
That was McConaughey. So, yeah, I've never in my life seen that lake actually fully ice over. And it did this week.
Weird.
So,
It's super low this year too. Well, I know everywhere.
So right now it's sitting at about 27% water capacity. But even at 27% capacity, the lake is still 18 miles long and 3 miles wide.
Yeah, but
there's still a ton of water surface for that wind to kick up, chop, and break and keep it from forming ice. So, I mean, I've never seen it. Even when it was down like this in 2012, it still never froze over. But Harlan, it's never froze completely shut that I've seen. Last year, I seen it. The dam, half of the lake down by the dam, it froze over, but then the upper up in the trees and the channels where it could suck a little more of that heat from the sunlight, it stayed open out in the middle. And this year it froze over 100%. So I believe our fishing season, unless Ethan's back. Ethan's internet completely died on him, but I mean, and then play on the ice. I mean, we're pretty much done until about middle of March. So unless we want to go south with Jeremy and Alyssa and go fish Kansas, Oklahoma, go find some open water.
We need to go to Texas. We want to go to Texas.
I'm supposed to go. I'm supposed to go to Texas and go fish with Chris. So
we're fired up right now. We're catching big fish every trip. So
right,
and this cold front, it's going to get down to 5. So after Christmas, it's going to be insane how good our fishing gets. For probably the next 2 months, it'll be crazy good. Where we'll catch anywhere from, on a bad day, we'll get 5 good ones. On a good day, we'll get 30. It's crazy how good it gets. And we don't have some of the big fish that like Pat's got in the river.
It's 2 months suck here, so it sounds like
we get our fish are probably our big fish are mostly in the 20 to 60 pound class, with the occasional 70. So we're not anywhere close to like some fisheries that Pat's fishing, but for us, it's really fun because you get a lot of steady action throughout the day.
That'd be a great fish to catch in our winter time. Like it'd be so worth it to go there and fish.
It's really fun. Especially like, I take a lot of new guys on the boat, and so we're always putting like PBs and stuff like that. And I tell guys, they're like, well, what's a good day? I'm like, if we get a 20, we're gonna be doing high five. And they're like, dude, you said a 20, we caught 15 of them. Like, so it's right about now it gets really crazy here on a good day. So on a bad day, we'll catch a few, but that's a north front. And, I'm a weekend angler. So, Mother Nature can be cruel. And it might be north front every weekend for us. I've had years where we didn't hardly catch any fish because I got to fish the weekend. And it was a north front every freaking weekend. Mm-hmm. And you're catching 1 or 2 fish for the trip. And then I got to see my buddies that get to fish during the middle of the week, and they're like, "Yeah, I caught 15." F you, man.
That's kind of how I felt when Ryan was going out every single day this summer. It's like, come on, man.
Oh man,
got to work. God. He's going to work on a house and build a house, and he's got the kayak in the back of his truck. Next thing I know, it's 3:00, and he's sending pictures of him holding catfish. Come on, dude.
I know. You see Pat catching them on the Tennessee in like middle of the summer, and I'm like catching these little 5-pounders. I'm like,
right.
Oh man,
that's my goal this year.
60-pounder on. I'm like, God, what I would do for that, man.
So that's my goal this year is to catch one 60 or bigger out of the kayak. I had that 55-pound flathead, and that was something else. He stopped me drifting, and I'm in a big kayak. He stopped me cold down. It was pulling me upstream, upriver in a 200-pound kayak. He had me dead.
I'm so happy. I'd be like
My
shaking.
buddy Killer B, he's a kayak fisherman. He calls that the Texas sleigh ride, Pat.
Yeah.
When you catch a monster like that, he's like, you just hang on and they just pull you around the lake. Like that sounds pretty intriguing. I would like to catch one like that.
We don't
I
call
don't
it a
know that
sleigh
I'd want
ride.
to sit in a kayak all day, but
That one I'm in's comfortable. It's 15 foot. I mean, I
damn,
actually.
that's
So
bigger than
I'm
some of these guys' boats.
yeah. So
my one's a 16-foot.
yeah, I'm 5'7". I'm about 240. Right. You know, I'm a short little thick guy, but I can stand up in my kayak. This is on the Tennessee River now. This is with traffic, waves. I can walk. I've literally walked to the back. I've walked and stood on the nose of it. I mean, it's 15 foot by I think it's right at 40 inches wide.
Oh wow!
So what bait do y'all use? Skipjack? Is that what you're using on the Tennessee?
Most of the year I'm using skipjack, but this time of year it's like straight up just bluegill or any kind of
Okay, so
brim.
you're riding reel in your bait.
What's that?
You're riding reel in your bait.
Usually. Now here in
Yeah.
Georgia, where I live at, it's threadfin shad, and I'm netting them.
Okay. I was gonna say, how's that throwing the net off that kayak?
It's a pain. It's a pain.
I'd
I have
like
to
to
use
see
a
that
little
on
bitty
video.
net, and I got to stand up and just kind of drop it over the side. You know.
Now, Pat, we're doing a challenge up here this year. We're doing the mini rod challenge. I think for you kayak guys, I want to see a throw net challenge. See who can throw the biggest net
I
off
would
their
like to
kayak.
see that too.
I won't be trying it on the Tennessee. I'll tell you that much.
Right.
I'm not doing it out there.
So,
Biggest I use off my kayak is 5 foot.
that's still good. I mean, it's still a decent sized net. You're still going to cover a lot of water with it.
Right.
So
you got to be more precise in your throw.
right. Because you run what, Chris? A 10?
I use a 7. That's all we're allowed to use in Texas. I used an 8 for a while because, I mean, breaking a few laws is kind of like speeding in my mind. But I use an 8, but I'm a precision netter, so I use my transducer to get right over side image. Tells me how far to throw it. So 8, I ended up losing more nets using an 8 than I. So I've just got accustomed to throwing a 7, and I throw a heavy net time when I'm out deep.
Right.
So an 8 can be a real pain in the ass whenever bait's hard to find or it's scattered.
Right.
I always find it. It's just sometimes it's scattered. Takes 10 throws to get it.
I'm trying to think. Jeremy, what's the biggest net we can run here?
5.
5 is the biggest? Well,
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat with you because I run a 6.
When have you ever seen a game warden pull out and measure a throw net?
Not in 30 years. I've never had my net measured.
Mm-mm.
Never.
See, here, you don't even have to be good. When our shad run goes, like I said, it'll be a mile long. It'll be 20 foot wide and 4 foot thick all the way. The river will just be black. I've thrown bananas. I've thrown it to where it looked like a banana and still have 150 shad in the net.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's how it was for us this year. Like I was telling Pat, we've got one of our lakes here. It was so loaded with shad this year. I mean, it didn't matter where you throw it. You could just close your eyes and throw your net, and you're still going to come out with shad. I mean, it was so ridiculously small.
Are you watching our video?
But so
that's not going to be exciting. There's no fish.
Chris, I know what you run for a rig in the winter. Pat, what are you running for a bank rig over there in the winter? Do you change your rig up in the wintertime?
Not really. I change it up for the section of the rivers that I fish at. Not really kind of how the weather is. It's just how snaggy the bottom is. I just run a lot of dropper loops. Like, I don't know if you saltwater fish, but like chicken rigs.
Yep.
I do a lot of that with the bank because here it's a lot of natural rock bottom.
I wonder if it's
Tennessee, I do a lot of the like the Demon Dragons and just like a fish finder rig. So it's not really. It doesn't really depend on the weather. It's just the structure I fish around.
Right. So, I guess Jeremy, I don't think you were in. What's up, buddy? No, I hear
He
you
was
guys
watching
had.
our video we just posted.
I hear you had a little excitement. What, a week ago on one of your lives?
Me?
No, Pat.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you had a little excitement. What, a week ago?
Wasn't excitement. That was freaky. So they think now that the guy who did it, they arrested a guy, but now they think it's the wrong guy. So they think the guy's still out there.
I came into your live the other day, and I just caught the tail end of what you were telling them. Not enough to tell that shooting or something that was going on. What exactly happened? Do you know?
So where I fish at, is downtown of our area. So like it could be pretty rough in our area down here. And we heard gunshots. There was like 5 or 6 gunshots.
Put it on mute. Go to your room, please.
One of the guys that was watching me posted in there, "Oh, don't worry, guys, it's just a shooting range." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm in the middle of the city. There ain't no shooting range. There ain't no deer hunting out here on Boulevard."
Jackson.
But then we heard multiple shots.
Get my son in bed.
And it was a guy. I guess they thought it was gang related. He shot and killed a guy up in the parking lot where I was at. And apparently he turned and saw a bystander there had seen him. So he shot and killed him so they couldn't identify him. Because I came back down there the next couple days later to try to fish. We was going to go down there. And they had that whole area, including where I was doing my live stream, blocked off for evidence.
Oh, jeez.
It got crazy pretty quick over there. Everybody on my live was telling me to leave, and I was like, "Nah, dude, I just caught a 26-pound fish. I'm not going anywhere."
If we're catching 20-some-pound fish, I'll just hunker down and just let it be done with it.
He's gonna have to fight me because I'm not leaving these fish.
So, well, we've been on here a little over an hour. Is there anything any three of you guys want to add in that we haven't covered? Any tips, tricks you recommend for catching winter cats? We've covered bait size, bait presentation, structure, water depth, temp.
Stop living in Nebraska. Stop living in Nebraska.
Fishing can suck in the wintertime, but you can't catch them sitting on the couch.
True story.
That's right.
It may suck, but some of my best fishing trips have been when it was so cold, ice was on the tip of my rod, and I had to break the ice off, and also when it was so hot that I thought I was going to have a stroke. You just sometimes it's not even about structure and everything. Sometimes it's about luck and being in the right spot.
Yep.
That's right. Fish hard, fish often. And,
yep.
Just go every weekend is the way I look at it.
Yep. So, all right. Well, guys, appreciate you guys coming in tonight. We're on week 2. Next week we have Tim with Epic Catfishing coming in. Looking forward to that one. So, you come on back. We'll have some fun, and I'm sure all of us are going to learn a whole lot more. So, but Heart Exploding says, good advice, Pat. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys learned something. Like I told Pat
I
earlier.
learned I need to move. That's what I learned.
What?
So I
Learned
learned I
you-
need to move.
Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. My wife looks at houses, and I'm like, you're looking too far north. Let's look south. You know. So, but all right. Well, I'm gonna go upload this to our YouTube for the night and see if we can get some more people to check it out. And if you guys watch this, give Twisted Tackle Fishing a follow, as well as ElGato Azul TV, and don't forget to check out Wicked Whiskers down there.